Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. I'm BrendenPlayz, and I am not happy this week. In the 149th edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast, I am once again not happy because Jinder Mahal is the number one contender for the WWE Championship. What is going on Smackdown? What the hell did we just see this week? Well, this week on the show, we're going to talk all about it. We're going to have a bit of a rant on Jinder, let's be honest, it's going to happen. And we'll break down the rest of the latest in Smackdown and Raw. To be honest, not a hell of a lot really happened this week. I thought both shows were really poor. I really didn't care for either. And normally after 2 hours of Smackdown, I'm really satisfied. 2 hours of Smackdown, I really enjoyed the product, I thought it was great, whatever. This week, I fast forward majority of the show, I just had no interest. I think my interest just dropped completely. As soon as I learned that Jinder Mahal was the number one contender, I just thought, what the fuck am I watching? And I just couldn't do it anymore. I just didn't want to. So, yeah, so because of that, my interest this week was a little low, but plenty to talk about in terms of, the Jinder Mahal thing, and we've got a few new number one contenders as well, not just for the WWE Championship, a couple of injuries to talk about, and even an unfortunate death as well this week in wrestling. Plenty of questions to get into later on as well. But first of all, before we get into all of that, I want to talk about the upcoming Money in the Bank pay-per-view, which will be taking place this weekend right here on the BrendenPlayz channel on YouTube and on Twitch. It'll be on the 23rd of April, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time, and it'll be live on BrendenPlayz, of course available to watch after the stream is ended, as always on the YouTube channel. So, yeah, Money in the Bank this weekend, I think it's going to be a great show. Money in the Bank, to me, is always one of the best pay-per-views of the season, year after year after year. And it seems as though Money in the Bank is always up there, one of the best ones. WrestleMania always wins the Slammy Award for best pay-per-view, and that's because it's the pay-per-view that just happened recently. Generally, if it was Backlash or Extreme Rules or whatever, that would probably be the Slammy Award winner, because whatever was the recent one was what, majority of the audience had watched, and that's just, the way it is. So, but I think Money in the Bank, personally, has got to be up there, one of the better shows of the season all the time, and it's, there's a reason why I call it the night that changes it all, because it really is. It's a night that the winner of the Money in the Bank briefcase, it really dictates and shapes how Universe Mode is going to be for perhaps even the next year. So, like you saw last season, Finn Balor cashed in. He's still the champion right now, so he's had a massive part to play in that. And, I'm really looking forward to showcasing you guys Money in the Bank. We're still wrapping it up right now, a little bit more recording to do, and we begin the editing process. I think we're going to get the promo out for it tomorrow. And we might have the match card video go out very soon as well, so you guys know what the card is, and just a bit of a confirmation on the time as well. So keep an eye out for that. Once again, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time. Let me know if those times are still good. I think, we could have pushed it back maybe another hour, make it 3 p.m. and 8 p.m. But the pay-per-view generally starts at 4 a.m. for me. So if I pushed it back another hour, I'd have to stay up till 7 a.m., 7:30 a.m., doing an all-nighter. And, some people say, oh, that's pretty easy, but lately I've been struggling. To stay up that late, to be honest. And normally I'm a zombie just typing in the live chat, trying to answer people's questions in the chat. And I'm just a zombie. I've got nothing. So that could be difficult. But, so come along. It'd be great to see each and every one of you there, whether it be on YouTube or Twitch. I'll be chatting in both of them probably, unless I, distract myself doing something else. But more than likely, you'll see me in the live chats. Also in the news this week, we kind of gave the BrendenPlayz forums a brand new coat of paint. Something I've been working on for the last few days is revamping the forums. We found, a brand new design. I've been working hard on trying to get it up and ready to go. And today we just launched it onto the forums now. So it's a brand new design. And honestly, I think it's the best that the forums has ever looked and probably ever will look. I think it looks fantastic. I'm super proud of it. I'm super happy with it. I think it looks amazing. And I really want you guys to go and check it out. So if you haven't been on the forums for a while, if you haven't ever been on the forums, now is the time to give it a look. BrendenPlayz.com/forums. It looks great now, and I think it's at its absolute best. We added in a couple of new features as well the last couple of days as well. So it is looking tremendous. And speaking of the forums, in a couple of weeks' time, we're going to celebrate, maybe about 3 weeks' time actually, we're going to celebrate the 3-year anniversary of the forums and the 3-year anniversary of the BrendenPlayz website. So that's some pretty cool milestones, I got to say. It's pretty crazy that we're at 3 years already since I started, considering that, you know, all those years ago, I was an 18-year-old who just kind of was jealous that I didn't have a website. I'm like, I was just like laying in bed one day. I think I was on my laptop. I was looking around. I might have stumbled across another YouTuber's website. And I just thought to myself, you know what? I want a website. How do I make a website? How do I make a good website? And how much is it going to cost me? I looked at it all and said, you know what? Screw it. Let's do it. I bought the website. I bought the domain. I did everything I got to do. And away we went. I have no idea how to make websites. I still don't. I don't know how to code. Still don't. I don't know how to do anything with websites. But somehow I've managed to make it. And look, I'm going to be biased, but I think it looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with it. I don't know what I'm doing, but somehow I've managed to figure some things out, and I managed to put a couple of pieces together, and we put something together that looks okay. And look, I wish I could have, hired someone to make my website look good, but geez, people, website designers or whatever, website builders, they want thousands of dollars to do websites. It's actually crazy how expensive that is. So there's no way in hell that I could afford that. I don't make that much money. So I just had to try and learn myself. I just had to try and figure it all out. And, it's not easy to do, but we managed. We managed. And I just want to say a quick thank you to all the people that have supported the website, especially the guys on the forums who have obviously helped keep the forums up and running and continue to work on it come on every single day and continue to keep it ticking over and keep it, as fun as it has been for all these years. It still remains so fun. And like I said, if you haven't already, check it out. I would really appreciate it. I guess the other thing that's kind of been going on lately, and I haven't really talked about it on the podcast, because it hasn't really personally been affecting me, but one thing that's been in the news quite a lot is the recent changes to YouTube. Now, YouTube's monetization's rules and kind of have changed a little bit. Advertisers have dropped out. Some of the big name advertisers have decided they're no longer advertising on YouTube, and it's because there's been a few incidents of some advertisements being displayed on inappropriate videos, and advertisers not being, exactly thrilled about that, and they've been wanting to remove themselves from YouTube until that is all fixed. YouTube's currently working on a fix. But because of that, YouTube have kind of regulated their advertisement model a little bit further, and they're making it a little bit more difficult for your videos to receive ads. If content isn't advertiser friendly, then it's not going to be given an ad, and monetization will not be there. One of the things that's been impacted quite greatly has been wrestling. Now, I believe some independent wrestling company came out, might have been last week, and basically said, look, we can't make any money off our YouTube videos anymore because, it's no longer allowed. We've been restricted because of the violent nature of wrestling, which I think is ridiculous. I think if advertisers are willing to advertise on a television network, then they're gonna, they should be willing to advertise on the same content on YouTube. And if anything, YouTube should be more lenient than television. And realistically, you look at the content on YouTube, it's a hell of a lot worse at times than what you see on television. So, but, there's been a lot of regulation lately, and there's been a lot of changes to advertisement and how it's been, going around on YouTube lately. A lot of big YouTubers have been talking about, losing their house and being broke, and now they can't pay for their mortgage, and they're going to, be on the streets because of this. And I think which is ridiculous. But I personally, I'm not going through it. I haven't really noticed any change at all in my videos, maybe because it is video games. They've kind of kept that, and my channel is generally a pretty family-friendly type of channel. I mean, I've got a lot of younger viewers watching my wrestling videos, which is fine, and maybe that's been a big reason why I've been able to keep doing what I'm doing without any real troubles, which I guess is a bit of a relief. A big relief, really, that I haven't been impacted, because if I'd been impacted, then I probably would have to go and get a part-time job, waiting tables or stacking shelves or, doing something I don't want to really do. And I don't make a lot of money off YouTube, I'll say that now, but I make enough to not have to go and get a real job whilst I'm doing college, which is awesome, really great, to be honest. It's fantastic that I could just, stay at home and work at home and do my own thing here. It's awesome. It's really great. So, people that are kind of struggling a little bit there, I do feel for them, but, I think a lot of people that, for example, had millions of subscribers and making, $25,000 a month off YouTube, for them to say within, 3 weeks of this bit going down, them to say, oh, I can't pay for my mortgage anymore, I think I have zero sympathy for that, because if you're making that much money and you've made so many bad choices where you can't afford to pay, $2,000 on your mortgage for the month, what the hell have you been spending your money on? Where's all your savings? Why haven't you saved up? Why haven't you, made smart financial decisions? So, I don't have much sympathy for people in those situations. You should have money saved up. If you're making that much money, you shouldn't really be spending that much money. You should be saving. Because YouTube, I think, for people to really believe that this is going to be around for 20 years and this is going to be a career for some people for long term, for 5+ years, you got to be crazy. Not many people can make YouTube into a long-term career. You see people all the time, they'll rise. They might have, be on top of the world for a year. And then it's gone. They make a mistake and people turn their backs on them. Or, their content just isn't popular anymore. It's not trending anymore. And all of a sudden their channel is gone within a blink of an eye. And that happens all the time. So, for people who are doing YouTube, if you are a YouTuber and you're aspiring YouTuber, if you do start to make some money, don't go and blow it. Simple as that. Save it up, use it wisely, because this should be money on the side. Personally, I'm about to finish college. I'm in my final semester of college. I'm going to be finishing up in June. And after that, I'm going to start job hunting. Hopefully I can land some work, and I'm hoping I can, get part-time, maybe full-time work if I'm really lucky, and start working somewhere and start making some real money. But I'm still going to do YouTube on the side, because that's going to be some extra cash that I can keep, a hold of, and maybe, spend it to, do something fun, or, buy something I'm looking for, or just save it up. Simple as that. So, a lot of people maybe can't do a regular job and YouTube at the same time, but I think it'd be pretty good if you can just kind of work a part-time job and then do YouTube as well, the side as well, and just really make as much money as you possibly can. And that's the thing. A lot of people just aren't really smart with their money on the YouTube side of things, and because YouTube is not reliable, if things go down on YouTube, at least you've got a job to back yourself up. But a lot of people haven't really got themselves in that situation, and YouTube is their sole income. Some people have kind of gone the Patreon route, some have gone the Twitch route, or whatever. But, you need something other than YouTube to support yourself, because you never know when this all goes away. And it's interesting to see who's going to stick around, who's going to keep uploading, who's going to keep working despite monetization perhaps not being there. But if you want my opinion, if you're worried about the future of YouTube, if you're worried about monetization for the future, if you're worried about, maybe your favorite channel no longer being around, I wouldn't worry too much. From the way I see it, YouTube's going to fix their policies. They're going to, really knuckle down on who's receiving ads and what type of content's going to get ads. And they're going to bring back the major advertisers, and eventually it's going to be, a little bit more lenient, and then, I think it'll maybe not quite go back to normal the way it was, but I think most people will be back to, the day-to-day operations as per usual. So just kind of give it a month or two, and I think this might all blow away. I could be very wrong, but I feel like, this is only a short-term thing, and once, we start to see the big companies back into it, I think we'll start to see YouTube be okay. And I'm personally not worried. Like I said, my channel has not been affected whatsoever. So, I've actually been having, the last few months have been some of my better months that I've ever had on my channel, which has been terrific. And I've had a great start to this month as well. And obviously Money in the Bank coming up is going to be great. So, I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I know some people are struggling out there, but myself personally, I'm not here to brag or gloat or anything like that. I'm doing just fine. So, yeah, so, obviously send some support to some of your YouTubers that may be doing it tough, some of your favorite channels out there. But like I said, I've got no sympathy for people who are making real big money and go ahead and buy a big house and a $100,000 car, and all of a sudden they can't pay for it. That's just their own dumb stupidity. That's the thing. They're not smart with their money, and they've got to learn to get smart. And this may be their wake-up call that they need. So hopefully things go back to the way it was. But anyways, that actually wasn't in the plan to talk about this week, but I did want to talk about that at some point. I'm glad I got that off my mind, because it's been a little frustrating me lately, and I've seen, all over Twitter, people really just complaining. It's been a little bit sad, to be honest. But anyways, we'll move on. And like I said, just to finish that off, some of the wrestling companies, independent shows that rely on YouTube as a bit of an extra source of income. Those are the channels that really are going to really do it tough, and that really sucks, because they're good content, and that's the channels that need this extra income to keep doing it and to keep giving people what they want, and to take all that money away from them. That really sucks. That really sucks. People that need this money, people that deserve it, put out good content, and that gets taken away from them. That's when it really sucks. So let's hope it gets fixed for channels like that. But anyways, we'll move on to Smackdown, and we're just going to be all over the place this week on the show. I just want to jump into a couple of topics, and that's on my mind straight away. We talked about it earlier on. Let's get into it. Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal, a six-pack challenge. And when it got announced, I think it might have been last week or on Raw or whatever it was, I looked at the 6 guys that were in this match, and the first guy that I ruled out as a potential winner was Jinder Mahal. I said, this guy's got no chance. The next guy was Mojo Rawley. And then I thought, the rest of them, yeah, maybe. Who else was there? There was Sami Zayn, Ziggler, Corbin was not even in that. I don't even remember the other guys. So I thought Jinder Mahal had no chance whatsoever, but here he is. He wins. He wins out of fucking nowhere. I think they said that his last win on SmackDown was in 2012. I know his last match on SmackDown was 2012, and he lost against El Torito or something. And Jinder Mahal, look, I don't have any problem with him getting a push. It's not about the push, it's the way that they've done it. This guy has gone from losing every single match, every single week. It doesn't matter if he's come to SmackDown, he's still losing. He's been on Raw, still losing. He is a jobber. That's what they signed him to be. They brought him back, just like Kurt Hawkins, to lose to people, to be a job guy. And that's exactly what he's been. Losing to everyone, destroyed his credibility. He's been nothing. Absolutely nothing. And they take a guy who's been absolutely nothing, and then the next week, he goes from that the next week to being the number one contender. Not just the number one contender for the US title, the IC title. That I could have maybe lived with. I mean, okay, whatever, sure. They're going to give him a quick little push, because they've got no one else. That's fine. But they're taking a guy who's been a jobber to now the number one contender for the WWE Championship. And mind you, this could potentially main event a pay-per-view. Randy Orton and Jinder Mahal for the WWE Championship could potentially main event Backlash. Now, will that happen? No, I think it's got to be AJ Styles and Kevin Owens at main event. What else? It has to be. Has to be, surely. Because you can't have a guy who's a jobber main eventing a pay-per-view. When has that ever made sense in wrestling? It never has. When has that ever worked in wrestling? You talk about Roman Reigns getting shoved down your throat. Well, Jinder Mahal has gone from being a fucking jobber to now main eventing within the space of 1 week. If that's not being shoved down your throat, then what is? So people complaining about Roman Reigns, I've been seeing so much praise all over the internet about how this is great. Oh, we got someone finally different. This is awesome. Jinder Mahal, well, he deserves it. He deserves it. Now, that's interesting. That's a funny little phrase right there. He deserves it. Now, what does Jinder Mahal honestly deserve? He's been in the company, some for what, 4 or 5 years in total. His first run back in 2011, 2010 was an absolute abysmal failure. Turned into a 3MB member. 3MB, a 3-man band. The biggest joke stable in years. He was a part of that. And he's never really changed since. The only thing that's changed about him is he's got a vein in every single muscle of his body. Every part of him is just veined up. It looks ridiculous. He's clearly on steroids. And you can try and deny it, but he's got every symptom. He's got every sign of being on steroids. If he's not on steroids, he's on something that, is very, very close to it. So he's juiced up, which, for whatever reason, he hasn't failed the wellness policy. Maybe this guy's got an unreal doctor helping him out right now. Or someone's, he's trading piss cups with someone else. Because, he's obviously getting tips from Ryback or, on the same shit that Ryback was. Because, Jinder's just ridiculous. He's gone from being, in decent shape to, being, jacked up to the gills. It's outrageous. So I can see why Vince is probably like, yeah, let's give this guy a push, Looking at his body, he probably thinks, this is great. But like I said, I've got no problem with Jinder Mahal. We'll get into him personally in a moment. But it's the fact that you take a guy from being nothing to a main eventer within 1 week. That is just ridiculous. So Randy Orton versus Jinder Mahal. Who the hell could possibly believe that Jinder Mahal is going to beat Randy Orton? And why? What incentive is there to watch Jinder Mahal versus Randy Orton on a pay-per-view? There's none. Look, Jinder Mahal, if he actually did beat Randy Orton for the championship and they did strap him onto and give him the belt, I think that would be hilarious. It would be hilariously bad. It just feels like another way to kind of keep SmackDown down. SmackDown's at a point where it's so bad that a job guy has to be the number one contender for the championship. That's all it kind of feels to me. I get it. They probably want to have, Baron Corbin be saved, AJ Styles be saved for Randy Orton. Maybe Nakamura saved, Ty Dillinger saved up. Then they could have, even done Dolph Ziggler, and I think that would have been better. There could be so many more options that would have been better than Jinder Mahal. It's, honestly, I just cannot believe it. It was spoiled for me. So I was watching SmackDown on the delay. I went on Twitter and accidentally, read a tweet that said Jinder Mahal's the number one contender, and I thought it was a troll. I thought, oh, that's a good one. That's a good joke. Probably thought that the match hadn't started yet, and they were just trolling the fans. But then I look again and I see a picture of him number one contender, and then I watch the match and he's actually number one contender. I just couldn't believe my eyes. I just could not believe it. I still can't. So, Jinder Mahal had the Bollywood Boys come and help him. So the Bollywood Boys, a team that's been signed to the WWE, since the Cruiserweight Classic. So what is that, 6 months at least now since that's taken place. And they're a team that's been signed for 6 months but haven't done anything. Haven't been on NXT, or if they have, not very much. Haven't been on, I think they were on 205 Live once maybe. And haven't been on Raw or SmackDown at all. So this whole time they've been doing nothing. So clearly they don't really see that much money in them to really kind of, we have to get this team on the main roster. Have to get this team on NXT. They just didn't know what to do with them. So they bring this team out randomly to help Jinder out. No explanation on why they helped Jinder. They just come out and grab a hold of Sami Zayn's feet. They're on TV for 10 seconds and then they disappear. And Jinder Mahal and the Bollywood Boys aren't in the ring cutting a promo together. It's just Jinder cutting a generic heel promo. Generic, foreign heel. I'm from India and you people don't respect me, blah, 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 blah. It's the same thing we see with every other foreign heel. Same thing Russo's been doing for years now. Same thing Muhammad Hassan was doing years ago. And, I just couldn't believe that. I read on Twitter people saying how great Jinder Mahal was and how amazing his promo was, and how he deserves it so much. Well, honestly, I can't tell you how a guy who hasn't got himself over, and look, there's a reason why most people are job guys. There is some exceptions. Look at a Damien Sandow, for example. He's a guy that was losing to everyone and was a job guy, even though he was very talented and didn't deserve to be in that position. But more often than not, some people just, suck. Kurt Hawkins, he just sucks. He deserves to be, in that position. He's not, worth anything else. Jinder Mahal, I think, is nearly the same. Look, if Jinder Mahal was getting a good crowd reaction, I know he got a nice little reaction after his promo, which was nice. But, when you do a generic heel anti-USA promo, you generally will get a reaction. I'd be worried if you didn't. But, this guy hasn't really done anything. He hasn't been that entertaining. He, got bitched out at WrestleMania in the pre-show by that football player twice. And Mojo Rawley's been beating him up. So it's just the fact that this guy has been booked shockingly. If he's been... hey, he beat Mojo Rawley a few weeks in a row. Maybe he got a lucky win over, lucky win over some mid-card guy, and he's just been getting a couple wins. Yeah, a lucky win over Sami Zayn a couple of weeks in a row. Or, he picks up a few wins and he's got a bit of momentum. Then you give him this win. Would I be thrilled? No, but could I believe it? Sure I could. But when the guy goes from being bitched out every week, losing every single week, and now he's the number one contender. How the hell does that make any sense? Who the hell booked that? Who the hell's idea was that? Now, I read something today that the reason why they did it is because they want to have someone kind of be in Rusev's position. Since he's out injured, they want to have a top heel, and they want to have a foreign heel, and they want to try... I've been hearing everyone say they want to try and appeal to the Indian market, so that's what they want to do. I think that's a load of crap. I just think that they are so desperate to make another heel that, they've got no one else, and I think, I couldn't tell you. I couldn't tell you why. I don't know what the thinking was, but now, look, Jinder Mahal, if they're going to legitimately push this guy and they're going to try and make him into a top guy, fair enough, but do it at a slow burn. Make it organic. Make this guy slowly rise up the ranks. Get some wins over some lower card guys. Move him up to the mid card. Look, he's not even a mid card. He's a lower mid card. He's below that. He's a job guy. So it's like if Mojo Rawley had won, it would have been like, oh wow, that's a huge surprise, and that was a little odd. But at least the guy's been winning most of his matches lately. Jinder Mahal hasn't been winning anything, hasn't been doing anything. He's barely on TV. The last 3 or 4 weeks he's been getting a little bit more TV time, but he's been losing every week. It hasn't exactly been great TV time. So it just makes no sense to me. It just makes no sense. It's just ridiculous. It's just stupid. And now I've really lost all interest in what Backlash will be. I had lost all my interest in Smackdown this week. And that's a shame because ever since this Superstar shakeup, I really feel as though they're just really making some bad decisions. I just feel like SmackDown just has lost a lot. I mean, this week on SmackDown, it just felt flat. I don't know. It just wasn't good. It just wasn't good. The Corbin and Styles was a good match, sure. Charlotte looked good. It's good to see her on SmackDown. There's a couple of bright spots, but geez, if we have to resort to Jinder Mahal winning, and by the way, the six-pack challenge to determine the number one contender for the WWE Championship was like a mid-card match. It wasn't even like the main event of SmackDown. That should be a main event-worthy match. This is to determine the number one contender for the championship, the world title, and it's just thrown in between a couple matches like it's nothing. It got a lot of time, but why isn't this match, either the opener or the main event of SmackDown? So once again, really weird booking, strange decisions, and it's like they've really changed the bookers of SmackDown from Raw. They've switched them over as well, and I don't know, man. It's not looking good. They've really made some bad decisions, and you may disagree with me. Fair enough. Look, Jinder Mahal, there's a bit of talent there, But, it's crazy. He goes 1 week from, nearly concussing their top guy to now being in the main event. So, is he a bad worker? No, he's okay. I haven't seen anything special from him. His promos are okay. I haven't seen anything special from him. The only thing I've seen from him is his outrageous physique that he's got going for him. And if that's the only reason why they're giving the guy a push, well, then everyone should just get in the gym and work hard, and, all of a sudden, they're going to be on top. It's... If you're a guy like Sami Zayn, I'm not a fan of Sami Zayn, but you've got to be pretty pissed off. This guy has done nothing, and all of a sudden he's pushed above you. Maybe this could have been Rusev if Rusev wasn't injured instead of Jinder Mahal. Maybe that would have been better, and that would have been believable. You could believe Rusev being in a position, but Jinder Mahal, a job guy, to now a main eventer, potentially a main eventer of Backlash, a main eventer of a Smackdown pay-per-view. Wow. I mean, that's a bit of a fall from grace for Smackdown. And maybe Randy Orton's, handpicked him himself. Maybe Randy Orton's backstage pushing for the guy to get the push. I don't know. We don't know what's going on, but it's a really out of the blue decision, really strange. And it feels like the world title in SmackDown is just being treated as a mid-card title. Randy Orton's really not involved in anything lately. Not really doing all that much. And, this Bray Wyatt thing is really, really bad. I'm really not liking this Bray and Randy Orton thing. It needs to go. It needs to end. Get this House of Horrors match, whatever that's going to be. They don't even know what it's going to be. Get this done. Get these two away from each other. It's done. It's, played out. Probably should have just ended it at WrestleMania and walked away from it. But yeah, so Randy Orton's title reign is probably going to start off in a really dull, lackluster way. And it already has, to be fair. So I just hope they don't do anything stupid and put the belt on Jinder Mahal, because that would be just stupid. That'd just be insanity. Insanity. But look, the way they've been booking lately, I wouldn't put it past them. I would not put it past them. But it is kind of worrisome that, they had to resort to Jinder Mahal. But, look, I think the strategy here would have been just to turn Randy Orton heel and then have Dillinger or Nakamura go for it. And is AJ Styles a babyface now? I don't even know. It seems like they're booking him a little bit as a babyface, so who knows? So maybe you can have AJ Styles and Orton. So there's a few more guys on the babyface side of things, Sami Zayn and Orton, that they could have done with, but they're sticking to their guns, keeping Orton as a babyface, and then Jinder Mahal as the heel. The rumor was it's meant to be Baron Corbin. It looks as though they're saving that for later. But there's not really many other top heels that they can go with, so they've had to resort to Jinder Mahal. And it'd be fair enough if he was a mid-card guy, but he's not. So, yeah, my rant is done. My rant's done. I'm not happy. I don't like it. People say he deserves it. I really don't think so. He hasn't done anything, in my opinion, to deserve anything. There's about 30 other guys that deserve it before Jinder Mahal does. But, for some reason, I've been reading all over Twitter. People are really happy and excited for this. I think you're insane. I think you're insane if you think this is a good idea. Yes, it's great to see someone different, but why? How could you believe it? How could you believe a guy that, think about a boxer who's lost every single match in his career. He's 0-50 in his career, but yet he gets a world title shot. That'd be the same thing. A guy competing for the UFC World Championship. He's never won a fight in his life, but yet he's headlining a UFC card against, the champion, and he's never won a fight in his life. That's what it feels. That's what it is. This guy's on a pay-per-view poster, yet he's never done anything worth, mentioning at all. The only thing I remember him doing was being a part of 3-man band and doing these stupid things, going to the music shop with 3MB and doing a few little dumb things there. And I think he had a turban once. He came in the ring with a turban and put it in a glass case or something like that. That's all I remember him doing. So deserve it? You've got to be kidding me. Anyways, let's move on. I'm done with it. Well, from that to another bad topic. Unfortunately, we saw this week that Rosey, the brother of Roman Reigns, unfortunately passed away. Very sad because, as you guys know, I've been watching 2005 Raw and Smackdown. And currently in 2005 Raw, Rosey and the Hurricane just won the Tag Team Championships. So I've kind of been having a bit of a chance to watch some Rosey matches and seeing what he's been doing. Still very young, 47. That's really strange. I don't know what the cause of death was. I didn't look into it any further to find out. But very sad, and I'm interested to see what happens there with Roman Reigns. Will he take a little bit of extra time? Because I guess considering his character on TV is technically injured, maybe he might take time off until Payback, then come back there instead to kind of just get some time away. We'll have to wait and see. You know, if I was Reigns, I'd be doing that for sure. But maybe he wants to just keep on wrestling to kind of take his mind off it. Who knows? So that'll be interesting to see what happens there. But very, very sad. And it seems like a lot of guys in that family, that Samoan family, just are going a bit too young. We saw Umaga, of course, years ago. He went as well. So it's really sad. Yeah, let's hope that that doesn't happen again, because it sucks. You know, whenever you lose a wrestler really young, or any wrestler at all, it's really sad. But when they're 47, that's, you know, very, very young. So really sucks. Another thing that also sucks is Dash Wilder of the Revival is injured, hurt his jaw, could be out for a couple of months. So the Revival, big debut on Raw, just starting to get some momentum. The top guys finally on Raw, looking great. Tag division on Raw, really killing it. Then they lose the Revival. So I don't think we'll see Scott Dawson in singles action. I think they'll just keep them both off TV, and then Dash will come back and go from there. So yeah, you know, that's a bit of a blow to Raw, let's be honest, it is. But you know, they've got plenty of other teams that they can slot in their place anyways. And they might have been, you know, a few months away from being in contention for the tag titles or anything like that anyways. They might have just been feuding with some of the lower end teams. But yeah, still it is a bit of a blow, and obviously halts their big debut tremendously. So that really sucks. Finn Balor looks to be okay. He had a quick little match against Kurt Hawkins this week on Raw, despite concussion rumors. Looks to be okay. So, you know, he certainly could be still carrying a concussion, but, you know, just did a match against Kurt Hawkins this week where he didn't take any bumps, I don't think he took any shots. I don't think any offense Kurt Hawkins got any offense in. So, you know, he could have still worked that match, but very unlikely that they'd have him wrestle at all if he had a concussion. They're very worried about concussions these days, the WWE. So, you know, I think he would have been 100% to go if he was wrestling. Alexa Bliss, number 1 contender for the Women's Championship on Raw. Good to see, something different. That Fatal 4-Way they had was a nice bit of breath of fresh air. Seeing a few different opponents, a few different rivals there on Raw doing something different. So, just like Charlotte over at SmackDown, she's the number 1 contender. I think Bliss and Charlotte are the 1-2 here in the entire WWE. You know, Charlotte's number 1, Alexa Bliss is number 2 for mine. They're my favorite 2 right now in both women's divisions. I think they are the absolute best talkers, been putting on great matches, been performing week after week after week greatly. It's great to see. And, you know, look, Naomi's been doing a good job. I think she's really stepped up her game. Becky Lynch has been sold for a long time now. Sasha Banks, I think we're kind of waiting for her to do a bit of a heel turn. She's been pretty stale. Really not fond of Bayley right now. I think she needs to drop the championship. I think she's just been really lackluster. Couldn't care less about her. Nia Jax I think is struggling. They need to kind of repackage her. I think she just needs to, you know, she's just a bit too green. She's not ready for the main roster. As simple as that. You know, giving her too much too soon. But, and look, you know, they've got some other women on Raw. They've got Emma there. They've got Mickie James as well. They're not really doing a hell of a lot. So let's hope that they can get a bit of an opportunity as well to shine and do something there. It looks as though maybe Emma and Dana Brooke might have a bit of a feud there. So we'll see how that plays out. And finally on Raw, we saw the Big Show and Braun Strowman reenact the classic break the ring spot. Now, how many times have we seen this now? Is this the 4th time, is it? You know, I know it was Lesnar and Big Show. Big Show and Mark Henry. I feel like there was one a couple of years ago. I could be wrong. I feel like Big Show was involved in one a few years ago. I don't remember who, but yeah. So this could be the 3rd or 4th one. I think I'm missing one or forgetting one. But look, you know, I said it on Twitter. I don't care how many times I see it, I still think it's cool. It's still a really cool moment. It's something that, it doesn't happen all the time, every 5 or so years, and you forget about it. You see it again. I thought it was cool. The referee looked like he died out there, so that was something a little bit different there. They kept teasing it. It finally happened, and it was a cool moment. I liked it. I thought it was good. Made Strowman look good without making the Big Show look bad. It was a good match. Not as good as the one that they had a month or so ago, but it was never going to be. But this big moment kind of put it over the top, and probably Big Show's having his best matches of his career in the last few years with Strowman. So, which is pretty incredible because a couple of years ago, or maybe a year ago, we were talking about how green Braun Strowman is and how he can't be on his own because he can't work, he can't wrestle on his own. But here he is. He's putting on some good performances. I think he's the MVP of Raw as of late. The whole Monday Night Raw episode this week was centered around Braun Strowman. And that's the way to go, because this guy's got it. You could turn him babyface, you can keep him heel, I don't care. He can play both sides. I honestly believe that. I think this guy, we look at Kane back in the day, he's big bad, he's evil, but then you can turn him and just be this badass that people like to see, and people like to, have him come out and kick ass. That's exactly what you can do with Braun Strowman. I think Strowman, you can have him on both sides. I think he's, I think of Strowman, I think of someone like Kane from, the early 2000s, and that's good. We need another guy like Kane. I think Strowman's awesome. I really do. I've been a big fan of him for ever since, this whole brand split took place. Strowman went on his own. I wasn't real keen on it at first, but after a few weeks, he really just started to impress me, and I've been a big fan since. And, I think he should win the WWE Championship this year. I think I think he could be the one to beat Brock Lesnar. I would legitimately think that he could beat Lesnar. I think that would be believable. I think it'd be good, and it'd be a huge win for him, and it would put him on the map. And he actually got his first T-shirt this week as well. The first Braun Strowman T-shirt finally came out. So I heard that it was sold out. So there you go. The fans are responding to him. So that's very positive. And that it seems as though they're on their way to building another top guy. And look, it's difficult. You got these big guys, but most of the time they can't work, they can't do much, they're limited. And, Braun Strowman seems as though he's starting to break that mold a little bit there and kind of branch out and do something of his own, and really proving to everyone that he can work and that he is pretty decent. He can hang. Well, apparently the recent brand shake-up, the superstar shake-up, was actually the draft this year. Vince McMahon apparently hates the word draft now, so that's ridiculous, but that's going to happen. That's going to be the word from now on, the superstar shake-up. So apparently that's the draft. So if we were expecting to see another quote-unquote shake-up later on this year, I probably think again, it seems as though that's going to be the case going forward. I definitely think the superstar shake-up should take place after WrestleMania. I like what they didn't do it the night after WrestleMania, because that's when all the big debuts happen. The week after, it means you get two big shows in a row. The night after WrestleMania is always huge anyways. You got still the overseas crowd, the people, diehard fans are still there. You have that special, you have some debuts or whatever, and then the next week you do a shake-up, you do a draft or whatever, and then you keep the momentum going. So I like what they did this year with the timing of the draft, or shake-up, whatever you want to call it. But I didn't exactly like who changed brands all that much in some circumstances, but it had to happen. And finally, we had a couple little tidbits as well. This one coming from NXT, bit of a spoiler here, but Candice LeRae, the wife of Johnny Gargano, made her NXT debut on the recent NXT tapings. So another new woman to the NXT women's division in down there, which is great because they really need some more women down there. And I've been hearing some big things about her and some good things about her, that she certainly has a lot of potential. So we'll see how she goes, and let's hope that she can find some success. And it looks as though Hideo Itami and Bobby Roode will be taking place at NXT TakeOver Chicago. And that should be a good show. Chicago and NXT together. I think that's going to be a good combination. I think that's going to be something worth watching. So Itami and Roode That's going to be good. And a lot of people have been kind of really downing Bobby Roode's in-ring ability, and I just think Roode's fantastic. I don't care what people say. Bobby Roode, to me, I love watching. I don't care if he's a slow-paced style. That's what I miss, you know. What we see these days is flips and over-the-top, you know, go type of matches. And whilst people like that, I don't mind. Just a slow-pace, beat down your opponent, talk trash. You know, I like it. You know, I like that, and I think we need a bit more of that. Because, you know, we see, you know, guys flying over the top. Everyone does a tope these days. Everyone has a top rope move. You know, it doesn't mean as much anymore, does it? You know, you see 20 years ago, if someone goes to the top rope, does an elbow off the top, that's the finisher. Does a suplex off the top, that's a finisher. Nowadays, that's just a standard move. That's a 1 count. You know, so it's been overdone. And, you know, if we can take a small step back and move away from that a little bit. It doesn't have to be 10 minutes of rest holds, but, you know, just a slow pace build towards the big finishing moments. And that's what Bobby Roode and Nakamura was. It was a slow burn. It was a slow start, but they built and they built and they built, and then the big payoff at the end, and it was good. You know, instead of just going all out right from the get-go from trying to keep it up for 20 minutes, you know, they slowly worked to it, and then they came good at the end, and that's where I think that's the way I think most matches should be built. You know, you start slow and you work into it, and you start, you know, slowly beat down your opponent. You work on an arm, work on a leg, eventually, you know, then you go for it at the end. And so I think that's something we're missing in wrestling, and I think Bobby Roode brings that back. And I just love Roode's psychology in the ring. He just gets it. It's just so good. You know, I remember seeing him live a few months ago, and he just was so fun, just so great. And the entrance and all that, that's awesome too. But I just love Bobby Roode. Huge fan. He's my number one guy right now. So, it'd be interesting to see. You know, Hitami, maybe he takes the belt. Maybe they give it to Drew Galloway and Bobby Roode moves up to the main roster. Who knows? I personally wouldn't do it right now, considering this put Nakamura and Dillinger up, and, you know, the other guys as well. You know, never know. Maybe Survivor Series time. They're looking to kind of, you know, inject some life into the brands. Bobby Roode could certainly bring that. But other than that, that's pretty much the wrap-up that we have this week on wrestling. We have some questions as well this week. In terms of gaming, I haven't really done a lot of gaming. I've been kind of working hard, getting my videos and my website and everything kind of done, so I haven't had a chance to do too much gaming this week. Had a chance to play a little bit more Horizon Zero Dawn over the Easter weekend, and I gotta say, starting to get into it. Really enjoying what I'm seeing there. If you haven't already, it's a PlayStation exclusive, Horizon Zero Dawn. I highly recommend it. Graphics are insane. I'm just starting to get a bit of a hang of the gameplay and starting to figure things out, how to tackle some of the opponents, the enemies in the game, the robotic dinosaur-looking guys. Just started to learn how to fight them and get better at fighting them, and I've been really enjoying it. I really have. I haven't had a lot of hours into it, maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours of gameplay into it so far, but from what I've played, it's going to be really fun. So I'm enjoying what I've been playing. The storyline's been good, so if I can give a recommendation this week, that would be the one, Horizon Zero Dawn. It's been out for about a month or so now. So yeah, definitely check that one out. But we'll get into our listener and viewer questions now. And the first one is coming from Keegan W7. Are you happy or / enjoying WWE's current product? The last couple of weeks, no, but overall, yeah, I have been enjoying WWE. I've been really enjoying Smackdown, but the last, like I said, a few weeks, not so much. But, you know, overall, for the last year, ever since the brand split, I've been enjoying WWE a hell of a lot more than before that. So they've been making a lot of good decisions, but in recent times, not so much, but most part, yes. He has another one as well. Should WWE speak out more on concussions? Maybe. Look, yes, wrestling and concussions go and coincide, but no, I think they'd probably do enough. I don't think they really need to do any more. They're kind of doing a lot else. You know, they're doing bullying and, you know, like the biggest staff thing, like I said, and, you know, cancer, and, you know, they're really spreading themselves pretty thin. You know, they can't cover everything. I think the NFL are doing a good job, or at least covering a lot of concussion type of things. So, you know, leave it to them maybe. And finally from him, Kurt Angle being back, does this mean he'll have a feud with someone? Yeah, look, probably. I'm sure he'll have some kind of, feud with someone on his show. It may not lead to a rivalry or anything like that. I mean, he's had some conflict already with Braun Strowman, as we saw on Raw. So I'm sure he'll have some, back and forth with someone that with him being the general manager. But will he have necessarily a feud that will result in a match? Maybe, down the line, but I don't think anytime soon. From Thomas Bella, what wrestlers do you see retiring this year, and do you think they will go into the Hall of Fame? Well, we're hearing that the Big Show, Kane and Mark Henry, they're probably due to retire at any time right now, maybe within the next 12 months. It's possible that Goldust and R-Truth may retire as well. These are some guys that are, on the wrong end of 40 at the moment, and right up there. I don't think Big Show's that. I think he might be mid-40s, but, plenty of years in the tank, and obviously being a giant doesn't help. But those guys you could see retire within next year. I'm not a big fan of having someone retire, then go straight into the Hall of Fame. I get why they do it, to capitalize on their name value, and they did it with Edge, for example. But I'm more of a fan of they retire, and then, maybe 10 years down the line, they come back and have their, induction take place. So if, any of those guys retired, I probably wouldn't want to see them get inducted straight away. This one's from, this is a tough name, Atout Mary. I apologized for the butchering of the name. Do you think Sami Zayn is going to turn heel since he had back-to-back losses? Well, no, I don't think so. But look, Sami Zayn as a heel, it could work, but I think he's one of those guys that seems as though he'll play a babyface character for a lot of years. But a heel turn may not be a bad idea. I think he's kind of been a bit stagnant, a bit stale. I don't know how he's going to progress right now. I just feel like they haven't, they're not really giving him the opportunity to take the next step. He's had a lot of opportunities, to be fair, and he hasn't really, ran with the ball. So maybe they're kind of giving up on him a little bit. I personally am kind of sick of him. Another one here from Thomas. What's your favourite food? And I'm not sure what the rest of this question was, but I'm going to say, what do you like to cook the most? I like pizza. Probably my favourite food. And what do I like to cook? I like to cook anything that doesn't take long. I just, throw some meat in the pan, and put some vegetables on, and away we go. So anything that's pretty easy will do me. I'm pretty simple eater. I don't really eat a lot of extravagant food or anything like that. I eat a lot of basic stuff. Yeah. Cameron Fox, how do you feel about Kane going for a mayor run? It's not a huge shock. He's always been pretty political. He's a smart guy, very smart guy. So he could have success. But, you think about Kane, the wrestler, and it's pretty comical, to think that he'd be going to become mayor. But the Kane, the person, Glenn Jacobs, I think he could have some success in politics, no doubt. Thomas Speller, what is your favourite alcohol? I'm a beer guy. I like drinking beer. To be honest, I haven't really tried that much. I don't really drink alcohol that much. If I go out, I might have, one beer with a meal. But I don't necessarily go out partying or go out drinking very often. I've done it probably a handful of times. With the right group of people, I'm sure I'm down to do it without a doubt. But so I'm not a big alcohol drinker. So I haven't really tried any hard liquor or anything like that. So I mainly just stick to beer, and you can't go wrong with a good Corona. In my opinion, I think Corona's great. So. And other than that, I kind of drink a lot of Australian beers, which is the stuff that's readily available to me. So the Corona would be the one that most of you would probably know. And Ashar Bryant, out of every WWE game you played, which is your favourite? It'd have to be Smackdown vs. Raw 2007. I'm a massive fan of General Manager mode, and I've always thoroughly enjoyed playing it. I really enjoyed the series that I just did as well. But, I'm enjoying Here Comes the Pain. Unfortunately, we won't have a new episode of Here Comes the Pain until next week because, the pay-per-views and stuff going on. But, I'm enjoying Here Comes the Pain, and maybe when it's all said and done, that could be right up there with the list. I thought WWE 2K14 was a great game overall. That's certainly one of the absolute better ones as well. And I didn't get a chance to play it in the Nintendo 64 wrestling game, so who knows? That could have been on the list if it had of. This one is from Happy Harry Hardon. Is there any WWE superstar do you think needs a new finisher? Seth Rollins, definitely, but I think he's working on a new finisher at the moment, so we'll see. But yeah, he definitely needs something new. I'm trying to think of anyone else. Not that anyone else, not really anyone else that kind of springs to mind straight away. And he also wants to know, do you think SmackDown will ever have another SmackDown 6? It's possible, but, I don't think they have the right booking team to kind of make it work. They might have 6 guys on SmackDown that are great, but I'm not sure if they'll ever categorize them as the SmackDown 6 again. Look, you never say never, but it is very possible. It was very successful with Paul Heyman in charge, so it's not a bad idea to go back to, but it's unlikely. From Paul Smith, what do you think Bray Wyatt's ceiling is? What's the glass? What's the highest Bray Wyatt's going to accomplish? Where's he going to go? Look, he's been WWE champion, but arguably it was just a transitional championship run just to give him the strap. It wasn't really meaning much at all. But I think Bray Wyatt still has potential to be something, but again, the promos that he's doing, he talks for 5 seconds and I just zone out and I just don't even remember a single thing he said. So I'm not liking his promos. I think he's got to be more in the ring, back and forth, talking with Randy Orton, face to face promo battle. That's what I want to see more of. But with him just coming on the Titantron and just rambling on for 5 minutes, I just lose interest. So they're not really using him well. But I still think he could be a main event guy. I still think he can be a top guy for the future. Be that kind of outlandish, out of the norm character that they need. But they just take one step forward and 5 steps back with Bray Wyatt. And now once again he's lost the Wyatt family. So who God knows? Who knows what's going to happen with him? Maybe he needs a new family. Maybe they need to bring up a new family. Maybe they have Sanity join Bray Wyatt. Who knows? John Monahan, when do you see the New Day breaking up? Probably not anytime soon. Maybe in 6 months' time. I think that's probably when the tag team will have fully run its course. I think it's nearly just about done now. They're taking about a month off, with Kofi Kingston's injury, so they'll have a bit of time to take themselves off TV, freshen up. They need some new ideas. They need to change what they're doing. Maybe a heel turn, but they're selling a lot of merch, so they may not want to do that. But they need to come up with something different. This ice cream thing they're doing was unbearable, so much so that I put them on my shit list. They've got to do something different. They've got to try something else because what they're doing is not working. So if they don't get something else over, they don't get something else going, very possible that they may want to break them up because there's a lot of value still in Kofi Kingston and Big E, in my opinion, as singles. Woods on his own, might be a case of another Enzo, another guy who just gets beat up all the time. Hard to say if he'll go too far, but I still think Kingston as an upper mid-card babyface would be strong. Big E could play a tough heel or a babyface, either or. So I think there's still some value as them as singles, and as a team there's still value there, but they've just been really unbearable to watch as of late. Final question today is coming from Ryan Fleming. This could be interesting. He says, I don't watch their wrestling show, but I watch some of What Culture's videos. But why do you have so much hate for them? I'm English, and you seem to have an agenda against us. Is this true? Well, first of all, I read this comment. It was hilarious. Because apparently I don't like What Culture. That means that I don't like all of England. I don't like anyone who's English, which is ridiculous. I have nothing against English people. The only thing I have against England is when Australia versus them in the cricket, and it's the Ashes battle, and I want England to lose so badly because Australia and England have a very strong sporting rivalry. That's the only time that I'm hating on England. It's through sport. I don't hate England. I want to visit England one day. I think it'd be really nice to go over there. So I don't have an agenda against English people. That's just ridiculous. But I don't like What Culture. Now, it's not, it is to a degree what Culture does, but often it's other people's wrestling fans' perception of What Culture, because I read online all the time, what culture? They said this. They said this. Oh my god, they're doing this. People treat them like they're the holy grail of wrestling. You know, that everything they do is so amazing. You know, the ideas they come up with are so fucking great. You know, their wrestling show. The latest thing has been, oh, Drew Galloway was in What Culture Wrestling. That's the reason why WWE picked him up. They made him a star, and now WWE are bringing him. You know, just ridiculous things like that. Like, you know, people treat, you know, if someone turns up in What Culture Wrestling, people act like it's a massive deal that they signed a guy who, you know, they're not even exclusive to their brand. They just paid a guy a couple of grand to fly him over to What Culture. They paid him the cash to go and do the show. It's not a big deal. You know, they just paid the guy's fee. He'll go anywhere. If he got the money, he'll go anywhere. It's not exactly like, you know, Ring of Honor just exclusively signed so-and-so. It's not like on that level. Or TNA's got, you know, Jeff Hardy exclusively. It's not like that. It's just, you know, they paid a guy's appearance fee. But people, you know, you read online like, oh my god, this is so big. You know, this is massive. You know, people, the fans just, you know, make it very irritating to even, for starters, want to watch the show. Because they act like it's the biggest damn thing in the world. It's really not. And then I tried watching the show, and it's just, you know, when I listened to it, the commentaries is unbearable, the crowd was just obnoxious, it was really tough to watch. But that's just their wrestling product, and I really don't care about that. The other thing that kind of annoys me with them is their news, their articles that they bring out. So much of it is just fake news, it's just bullshit. You know, they say, this guy's going to get a push, and it never happens. This guy's going to do this, it never happens. You know, you can't trust anything that they bring out. So much so that I've pretty much said anyone who posts What Culture links on my website was going to get deleted because their news is bullshit. It's fake news. You know, I'm going to quote Donald Trump. It's fake news. It's bullshit. And that's my opinion because I read a lot of it. It's crap. And most of the time, it's just the fans. They just, you know, they make it sound like this is the holy grail of wrestling. And it's really not. There's only been one video from What Culture that I thought was good and was impressive. The other time, you know, they started the trend of, well, they, you know, capitalized on the trend of top 10 this, top 5 this, you know, and that's just been a nuisance in, you know, the wrestling genre as of late. Everyone's overdoing that now, and I don't know, man. I'm not a fan of it, so I speak negatively of it because I don't like it. And for some reason, this guy thinks I now have an agenda against the country of England because they don't like a wrestling YouTube channel. So, you know, go figure. But look, I'm allowed to not like something, you know, and that's the thing. You can't like everything in the world, and, you know, it just annoys me that, you know, you see so many people just talk up how great it is, and then you check it out, it's really nothing special at all, or it's just overhyped, it's ridiculous, and then news is just a lot of garbage. So that's my opinion. If you don't like it, well, you know what to do. Click the X button at the top right of your screen and you'll be right. So, anyways, that's it. That's all we have time for this week's edition of the podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed it. A bit of a negative show this week. I know we try to keep things positive, but this week had to be a negative one because I didn't have much positivity. You know, we had a few little bright moments were positive, but for the most part, not so much. So I apologize. Some people don't like the negative shows, and some people may say, oh, Brendan, you just hate everything. Well, this week I did, but most of the time I don't. So you get through the odd negative show here and there. Money in the Bank this weekend, Sunday, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 7 p.m. UK time on Sunday, April 23rd. Make sure you do check that out. Check out the website, BrendenPlayz.com as well. And, of course, the forums. Check out the new revamped, the new stylish-looking forums. You know, I think it looks good. If you don't, that's your opinion. But like I said, you know, you can't like it all. But I think it looks good. So check that out. It's absolutely free to join up. And I would love to see you all there. And, yeah, so follow me on Twitter at BrendenPlayz. Leave a like on the Facebook page. BrendenPlayz is the name. And am I missing anything? Subscribe to the channel. Yeah, that's always good. And of course, leave a comment, leave a question for next week's episode by leaving a comment in the YouTube comment section down below. Lots of questions this week. Thank you very much for that. I remember the Facebook post this week, so that was a good one. So hopefully next week I'll remember again. So you can also leave a question, like I said, on the Facebook page. BrendenPlayz is the name, and we generally will post that thread after Smackdown, if not early Wednesday. So keep an eye out for that so you can have your question answered on the show. that's all we have time for. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for listening in, and I'll see you all next Thursday.